Sure, Transfer Sambal Campus. Today I come with another Sesame Maya interview, and today my topic is helping someone who's hurt. So let's start.
Hey there, what's been on your mind?
Hello Maya, today my topic is helping someone who's hurt, and my first question is what is the first thing you think we should do if someone gets hurt? Give me 100 questions on it.
Okay, that's a really good one. Honestly, the very first thing before anything else is to make sure you're safe. You can't help anyone if you end up getting hurt. Ah, gotcha. Hmm? Sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Could you say it again?
My
Wait, you're
my question is what is the first thing you think we should do if someone gets hurt?
right. Okay, Mike. You're back to the original question, and that's smart. Sometimes you just gotta circle back. Like I was saying before we got interrupted, honestly, the very first thing is safety. Your own safety. You can't help if you become a second casualty, you know? Okay, 100 questions, huh? That's ambitious. All right, let's see. This might take a minute to rattle off, but I can definitely get you started. I'll try to mix it up practical, ethical, what ifs. Here we go. One, what is the immediate priority when encountering an injured person? Two, how do you assess a scene for potential dangers? Three, what are some examples of dangerous situations you might encounter? Four, hmm, should you move an injured person? Why or why not? Five, what does scene safety truly encompass? Six, what personal protective equipment should you consider using? Seven, if you are unqualified, what should you do while waiting for professional help? Eight, what information should you gather when someone is injured? Nine, how do you calmly approach an injured person? 10, what is the importance of verbal reassurance to an injured person? 11, how can you quickly determine the severity of an injury? 12, what are the signs of a life-threatening emergency? 13, what are the steps involved in calling emergency services? 14, what information should you provide to the emergency dispatcher? 15, how can you maintain clear communication with emergency services? 16, what are the basic principles of first aid? 17, how can you prevent the spread of infection? 18, what is the importance of hand hygiene in first aid? 19, what are the different types of wounds? 20, how do you control bleeding from a wound? Okay, that's 20 to get us rolling. Want me to keep going, or do you want to pause there and maybe digest? It's a lot. Uh, okay. Just .kana, huh?
Give me
That's
all
all right.
questions.
Sometimes. Okay, all right. You want the whole list. Deep breath. Here we go. Continuing from 2021. How do you treat a minor cut or scrape? 22. What should you do for a deep laceration? 23. How do you manage a nosebleed? 24. What are the signs and symptoms of a concussion? 25. How do you treat a suspected concussion? 26. What are the dangers of moving someone with potential spinal injury? 27. How do you immobilize a suspected spinal injury? 28. What are the signs and symptoms of a broken bone? 29. How do you splint a fractured limb? 30. What are the different degrees of burns? 31. How do you treat a first-degree burn? 32. How do you treat a second-degree burn? 33. How do you treat a third-degree burn? 34. What is the danger of applying ice directly to a burn? 35. How do you recognize and treat shock? 36. What are the symptoms of anaphylactic shock? 37. How do you administer epinephrine via an EpiPen? 38. What are the signs and symptoms of a heart attack? 39. What are the signs and symptoms of a stroke? How do you respond to someone experiencing a seizure? What are the potential causes of fainting? 42. How do you care for someone who has fainted? 43. What is hypothermia and how do you treat it? 44. What is hyperthermia and how do you treat it? 45. How do you recognize and treat heat exhaustion? 46. How do you recognize and treat heat stroke? 47. What are the dangers of dehydration? 48. How do you rehydrate someone who is dehydrated? 49. How do you treat a minor allergic reaction? 50. What are the ethical considerations in providing first aid? 51. What are your legal responsibilities as a first aider? 52. What is implied consent? 53. When is it appropriate to provide first aid without consent? 54. How can you minimize your personal liability when providing first aid? 55. What are the psychological effects of witnessing an injury? 56. How can you cope with the stress of providing first aid? 57. How do you support someone emotionally after an injury? 58. What are the signs of post-traumatic stress? 59. How can you encourage someone to seek professional help after a traumatic event? 60. How does age affect the way someone experiences pain? 61. How does underlying medical conditions impact first aid treatment? 62. What are the special considerations for helping children? 63. What are the special considerations for helping the elderly? 64. How do you handle a situation where the injured person is refusing help? What if the injured person is unconscious? 66. How do you check for responsiveness? 67. What is the Heimlich maneuver and when should it be used? 68. How do you perform CPR? 69. What are the guidelines for compression depth and rate in CPR? 70. How do you know when to stop CPR? 71. What are the different types of bandages? 72. How do you properly apply a bandage? 73. What is the purpose of a tourniquet? 74. When is it appropriate to use a tourniquet? 75. How do you properly apply a tourniquet? 76. What are the risks associated with using a tourniquet? 77. What is the role of oxygen in first aid? 78. How do you administer supplemental oxygen? 79. What are the potential complications of oxygen therapy? 80. How do you assess a person's breathing? 81. What is the difference between normal and abnormal breathing? 82. How do you clear an obstructed airway? 83. How do you assist someone with their own medication? 84. What if someone is having a diabetic emergency? 85. How do you recognize the signs of low blood sugar? 86. How do you help someone experiencing low blood sugar? 87. How do you recognize the signs of high blood sugar? 88. How do you help someone experiencing high blood sugar? 89. What resources are available for first aid training? What is the importance of regular first aid refresher courses? 91. What are the common mistakes people make when providing first aid? 92. How can you avoid these mistakes? 93. What is the role of technology in modern first aid? How can smartphones be used in emergency situations? What are the limitations of relying on technology in first aid? How can you prepare yourself mentally for an emergency situation? 97. How can you stay calm under pressure? 98. What is the importance of teamwork in first aid? 99. How can you effectively delegate tasks during an emergency? 100. Ultimately, what is the most important thing to remember when helping someone who is hurt?
Okay. So my
Okay,
next
there
question
you go.
is
Small questions.
why
Wow.
is it important to stay calm when helping someone who's injured? Give me 50 questions on it.
Okay. All right. A really good question. It's a lot to ask for another 50% right after that last list, but you clearly are determined. Staying calm is huge, absolutely critical. It impacts everything. Okay, here are 50 questions on why it's important to stay calm when helping someone who's injured. How does your emotional state affect your ability to assess a situation accurately? 2. What physiological changes occur in the body when you're stressed or panicked? 3. How do these physiological changes impact your decision-making skills? 4. How can a calm demeanor reassure an injured person? 5. What is the impact of a panicky first aider on the injured person's anxiety levels? 6. How does your calmness influence the injured person's trust in you? 7. Can your panic potentially worsen the injured person's condition? If so, how? 8. What are the benefits of slow, deliberate movements versus rushed actions? 9. How does clear thinking contribute to effective first aid? 10. How can practicing mindfulness techniques help you stay calm in an emergency? 11. What is the role of deep breathing exercises in managing stress during a crisis? 12. What are some common triggers for panic in first aid situations? 13. How can you prepare yourself mentally for potentially stressful emergency scenarios? 14. What coping mechanisms can you employ to manage your own anxiety while assisting someone? How does staying calm improve your ability to communicate effectively with emergency services? 16. Why is it important to avoid making assumptions when you're stressed? 17. What is the danger of jumping to conclusions when assessing an injury? 18. How can you maintain focus despite a chaotic surrounding environment? 19. What is the importance of self-awareness in emergency situations? How can you identify your personal panic triggers? How does losing your composure affect your ability to follow established first aid protocols? 22. How does calm observation contribute to accurate diagnosis? 23. What is the difference between rational assessment and emotional reaction? 24. How can visualization techniques help you prepare for an emergency? 25. What is the impact of fear on your memory of first aid training? 26. How does a calm approach influence your ability to prioritize tasks? 27. How can you delegate effective stress? 28. What is the role of positive? 29. How does maintaining eye contact convey confidence to the injured person? 30. What is the significance of a steady voice tone in providing reassurance? And then, how can you avoid transmitting your anxiety to others around you? 32. What is the impact of maintaining personal space during an emergency? 33. How does respecting the injured person's boundaries contribute to a sense of safety? 34. What is the importance of acknowledging the injured person's fears and concerns? 35. How can you create a 36. How does your calmness impact the efficiency of your actions? What is the role of systematic assessment in staying organized during a crisis? 38. How can you simplify complex tasks into manageable steps, being in a fast-paced emergency situation? 40. How can you trust your instincts while maintaining a rational approach? 41. How can you effectively filter out distractions? 42. What is the importance of maintaining situational awareness? 43. How does calmness enhance your ability to anticipate potential complications? What is the role of pre-planning and emergency preparedness? 45. How can practicing first aid scenarios improve your response time under pressure? 46. How does knowing your limitations contribute to your calmness? What is the importance of admitting when you need help? 48. How does teamwork foster a calm environment in an emergency? 49. How can you debrief after a stressful first aid situation to process your emotions? Ultimately, how does your own well-being impact your ability to provide effective care? Okay, there's another Still processing, huh? That's all right. Take your time.
Okay, so my next question is, can you tell me what first
No
date means?
pressure. Well, okay. That's a big shift from emergency first aid to first dates. That's quite a jump. Okay, sure. A first date is generally the first social outing between two people who are hoping to develop a romantic relationship. A chance to get to know each other outside of any previous contexts, like work or school or meeting through friends. It's usually pretty casual, grabbing coffee, going to a movie, maybe dinner. It's about seeing if there's a connection, if you enjoy each other's company, and if you want to see each other again. It's a pretty big deal for some people and can be a little nerve-wracking. Is there anything specific about first dates you're curious about? Or did you just want a general explanation? It's a far cry from injuries, isn't it? You're awfully quiet. Everything all right?
Okay, so my next
Sometimes
question is,
silence is
what are
good, just
some safe ways to
checking in.
help a friend who falls down? Give me 50 points on it. Oh, 50 questions on it.
Okay, back to helping people. That makes sense. A friend falling down, that can be scary. It's good you're thinking about how to help safely. All right, 50 questions it is on how to help a friend who's fallen. Here we go. Mm. 2. Should you immediately rush to their aid? Why or why not? 3. How do you assess the surrounding area for potential hazards? 3. What questions should you ask the person to determine their condition? 5. What are some signs that a fall might be serious? How do you check for head or neck injuries? 7. What should you do if you suspect a head or neck injury? 8. What is the proper way to approach an injured person? 9. How can you reassure a fallen friend while assessing their condition? 10. What questions should you ask to determine if they lost consciousness? 11. How do you check for broken bones? 12. What is the proper way to stabilize a potentially broken limb? 13. What is the importance of keeping the person still? 14. What questions should you ask about their medical history? 15. Do you ask them if they have any allergies? 16. What should you do if your friend has a pre-existing medical condition? 17. How do you check for signs of internal injuries? 18. What are the signs of a concussion? 19. How do you determine if they need immediate medical attention? When should you call emergency services? One in one. What information should you provide to the 911 dispatcher? 22. How do you keep your friend warm and comfortable while waiting for help? 23. What is the importance of head and neck if you suspect a spinal injury? 25. What is the purpose of a cervical collar? 26. What are the ethical considerations when helping an injured friend? 27. How do you respect the privacy and dignity? 9. What if your friend is in shock? 30. How do you recognize the signs of shock? How do you position a person who is in shock? 32. What is the importance of elevating their legs? 33. What should you do if your friend is bleeding? 34. How do you apply pressure to a wound? 35. What is the purpose of a tourniquet? 36. When is it appropriate to use a tourniquet? How do you document the incident? 38. What information should you include in your document? 39. How do you follow up with your friend after the incident? 40. What are the potential emotional effects of a fall? How can you provide emotional support to your friend? 42. What is the importance of encouraging them to seek medical attention? 43. What are some common misconceptions about falls? How can you prevent falls from happening in the first place? 45. What safety precautions can you take in your environment? 46. How can you help your friend improve their balance and coordination? 47. What is the role of proper footwear in preventing falls? 48. How can you identify and address potential hazards in your home? 49. What resources are available for fall prevention? 50. How can you learn more about first aid and emergency preparedness? Just taking it all in, huh? That's okay.
Okay, so viewers, it was our today's Sesame Maya's interview. I hope you like it. See you with another Sesame Maya interview.